Merkel Media.
What does the goddamn line say, Tony?
Please do not use gendered language.
Then what? I'll be arrested, put in airport jail?
Look, you're going completely sideways, man.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
How dare you?
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
I'm Chris Hansen with Daylight NBC.
Jack Marius Tack Theratrix.
Hi, I'm Spartacus.
Jackson, Sacramento, he, him.
Steven Seagal.
Sex offender guy.
I'm Keith Morris.
This is Muammar Gaddafi.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Sorting through the lies.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
We cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
And uncovering the centuries-long plan for world domination.
Learning about Cuba, having some food.
Let's talk about Chinese people.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Swangles and Fort Lauderdale?
I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles to blow up the Sears hardware department.
Nothing could be more fun than jumping off a cliff with 2 German bisexuals.
Oh, you English are so superior, aren't you?
Thank you, comrade.
And now, macroaggressions.
That's what assholes call it.
With your host,
Buddy, I don't know who you are, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Charlie Robinson.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
You want to drop the blame on Charlie and say it's all Charlie's fault.
He was a retard.
I get some goddamn diuretic.
Welcome to Macroaggressions. I'm your host, Charlie Robinson. If you're watching us on Rockfin, Rumble, Band.video, Vigilante.tv, Rockfin, or you're listening wherever podcasts are served, thanks a million. We appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter at Macroaggressions. The website is the octopus of globalcontrol.com. Huge thanks to our sponsors. They make the show happen. Chemical Free Body and the crew over there with Tim James are building, I don't know, it's just dietary supplements and vitamins that actually work. They decided to try that for a change instead of all the scammy stuff that doesn't do anything. They said, what if we made a product that actually worked? Do you think people would buy it? The answer is yes. You can go to Chemical Free Body. You can get a can of Green 85 and try it out for yourself. You can do the detox bundle. That's fantastic. That'll get you, that'll lean you out in a hurry, man. It's a 90-day program. I did that. It will thin you out. There's Pat Militich's new Super Soldier formula that they have over there. I haven't tried it yet, but I hear it's good. So look, if it's time to take control of your health, you're not going to get much help from the mainstream and nobody's going to do it for you. It's going to be up to you. Go to chemicalfreebody.com, take a look around. If you find something you like, use the promo code MACRO to save a little bit of money. Also, thanks to the folks at Legal Shield that have been providing you access to high-powered attorneys in your area for half a century in the United States and Canada. It'll get you access to an attorney that has on average 22 years of experience for as low as $1 a day. $29.99 a month will get you in the door. Get them to draft those last will and testaments for you, the financial power of attorney, your medical directive, all that stuff that you've got to have as an adult that you don't want to spend a couple $1,000s on. Sign up with Legal Shield, talk to your attorney right away, knock that stuff out in the first month, and this service will pay itself off for the next 5 years. So take a look. They made a website just for us. www.don'tgetpushedaround.com is the place to go. And take a look for yourself. If you're somebody that runs a small business, they have a small business plan. If you need Identity Shield, they have that. If you carry a gun, they have documentation for you there. If you're getting ready for trial of some kind, you can prepay trial hours with your attorney. There's a lot going on. Listen, those 87,000 IRS agents aren't coming for Elon Musk. They're coming for you. They want to examine what you spent on PayPal with your Aunt Ginny. They're convinced that you are plotting some sort of revolution against them, and they want to know where your money is going. So get yourself access to an attorney. Legal Shield's a great place to do it. Don'tgetpushedaround.com is the place to go. Thanks to the sponsors for all of that. Well, to say that Steve Poikonen is one of my favorite people on the planet would be a tremendous understatement. It would also be true. You might have found him over there on AM Wake Up every morning over on Rockfin for 3 hours, Monday through Friday now. Well, you're off summer hours, and you probably catch a slow news day from time to time, or maybe even on the Union of the Unwanted. You found him. Come over and say hi whenever you can. Go watch AM Wake Up. My God, what's the matter with you? Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Poikonen. Hello,
What's
Steve.
happening?
What's happening?
How's it going, Charlie? It's fantastic to be hanging out with you today, my friend.
It's always a good time to talk to you. I always feel like if I want to know what's happening in the world, you've got a pretty good idea of at least what the narrative is. You know, and if we know what the narrative is, then we know what reality isn't, because it isn't the narrative. And I'm just curious these days. I learned early on that when you see the magician and he's got the dove in one hand and he's making you look at this and he's got the top hat and all those distractions, there's something going on with his other hand. He's about to pull something out of his back pocket. What does the magician have planned for us? What are they pulling out of their back pocket right now? Because I'm distracted. You're distracted. They're trying to get us focused on Trump. They're trying to get us focused on Ukraine. They're trying to get us focused on a bunch of other things. And I've been a part of this long enough to understand that we're getting ready for the okie doke. So what's coming? What's coming?
It looks geopolitically like it's going to happen in Africa. And this also correlates with a lot of the things that people like Bill Gates and the World Economic Forum and the Chatham House and the Bloomberg New Economy people have all been talking about in conjunction with the Saudis and that line project. It really seems like the what Cory Morningstar referred to as the digital recolonization of Africa was underway in full effect. And with the French getting kicked out of Niger, with them basically saying, okay, we're going to take all of our military personnel and we're just going to let the Nigerian army with some people from Mali and Burkina Faso just sort of move into all of these bases that we know all of the infrastructure for, we have all the logistics and schematics for. We're just going to let them, have their country and have technically their uranium, I guess. We've been using it for a really long time. Feels like ours, but I guess it's theirs. We'll let them have that for a minute. We might even let them build up a little bit of infrastructure, but boy, are we coming back. And that's the sentiment that you get around the continent right now, from South Sudan all the way over, to say nothing, the ongoing slaughter of the Yemenis or the continued occupation of Palestine by a hostile, invasive Zionist army of murderous goons.
French are going hard R. Big time.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, the French, the French of those, and if you guys are familiar with this, I have a theory on a show that I do with my old neighbor in Vegas, Teal, and my friend Sugar, where we discuss that the quality of your barbecue, so specifically your barbecue sauce, increases by the amount of hard R racism is involved in the preparation of it, and that can be hard R on the cracker. Okay, this is pan cultural. But the more inherent racism you carry as the chef, the better the sauce comes out. And I feel like with the French, they're about to whip up some freaking, like wine and cream thing that is it's just chocked full of hard R. And we're about to see some escalation in earnest take place in East Africa.
Yeah, we are. And the Chinese have been out there building infrastructure for their Belt and Road Initiative. We've got a lot of...
Do you know about the dictator general schools that they have?
Yeah. Yeah,
where all of these guys from Mali and Burkina Faso and Niger, they all went to the same school. The Chinese were like, here's how you turn your military junta into a state-managed, centrally planned utopia.
Yes. Well, we have those too. We like to call them war colleges and things like that, where we take some dipshit, the king of England's son and say, come on over here and let's put you in our war college and we'll teach you how to do all these underhanded things and then send them out into the world. I don't know why the Chinese wouldn't do the same thing, right? They plan to be there for a while. It behooves them to have a system in place that they understand and run because they created it by putting the people in positions of power. I wonder how this is going to be viewed by the United States, because it seems like the Belt and Road Initiative is a great way to connect up China into a lot of ports so they can know what's coming and going inside and out. If you run a port, you are in the intelligence business, whether you want to be or not. So we've got that going up and down the eastern coast of Africa, into the Horn, up into the Persian Gulf, and in this area where Saudis are. We see a lot of big plans out there. The line, you mentioned that the Saudis want to build a 110-mile building that is going to be so perfect that you're never going to want to leave it. Can we leave it? Well, that's beside the point. You're never going to want to leave it. You may. The only way you leave is by catapult, right? And they just launch you into the desert. But this feels like it feels like something that's going on that the United States would normally be the ones doing. And yet this time it's the Chinese. They're building hospitals and infrastructure for sick Africans, and we are building graveyards for dead ones. Is China going to move in, muscle in on our Africa grift? Is this the future, or is this where the battle will take place?
Well, they've certainly been attempting to, and they've certainly been attempting to make it a Chinese or BRICS-led grift. I said a while ago that, before we know it, we're going to be talking about how Oceania has always been at war with Eurasia. And that's effectively the way that the BRICS alliance nations bill it when they talk about it, while they're still talking about all the sustainable development goals they're going to hit, and the digital currency, and all of the other things that people have identified as bad coming from the WEF. And so there's this disconnect in the US right now between the left, which acts as a protectorate for China, and the right, which it doesn't matter, they're just hell-bent on destroying them. Right. And they would never see the nuance in it if you put a pair of knives in it and told it to dance barefoot in the living room. Yeah. By the way, if that turns into a Benihana, I want reservations at the Britney Spears knife dancing Benihana.
She's getting I hear she's getting a residency at the Benihana out on Spring Mountain there.
Oh man, I'm there.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. So BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. BRICS Plus is expanding. We've got 7 more nations coming in. Gold-backed currency.
And you get HBO Max.
You get HBO Max. They throw it in. It's a bundle.
Yeah.
That's it. You get CNN Plus. Oh, wait. No, that didn't make it 4 weeks.
No.
But we do have we do have one component of this that's very interesting. It's a gold-backed currency. Now, it's not a currency for the people of China or the people of Russia to spend between themselves. It's more intergovernmental, for clearing transactions between these large countries with each other. But the concept of at least thinking about having a currency that is backed by something other than a promise or the military, it sounds appealing. Are we getting led into something? Clearly it's a threat to the dollar, but is this a threat to the dollar that we like, or is this a threat to the dollar that ultimately is just another form of fiat currency?
It's a threat to the dollar that you and I like, Charlie, because we've already been exploring alternative currencies for a number of years. However, in terms of the devaluation of the US dollar, no, it doesn't bode well, because the US can't go back on the gold standard. How are you going to go back on the gold standard when you're $33 trillion in debt to imaginary money? We went in 90 days. In 90 days, we went from $32 trillion to $33 trillion. This year alone, $1 trillion more in debt. that really is an unfathomable number in terms of what that kind of money actually looks like. And the U.S. under, Joe Biden's puppet masters racked up $1 trillion of it in 90 days. So if you put that kind of insurmountable debt back into a currency that is tangible and real, then the squeezing can begin in earnest. Do you want the Chinese, who own an outstanding portion of U.S. debt, if we gold backed it, they'd be like, yeah, let's go ahead and settle now.
Right.
Now. Okay, let's just go ahead and bankrupt the nation in earnest for good with their real gold. I think the U.S. would rather default on imaginary currency in the first place.
Yeah. Well, gold is in demand. The Russians have it. They never tend to sell it. I don't think the Chinese sell theirs either. India has always been a buyer of it. There's culturally, they've been a big believer of it from just the family standpoint, not to say nothing of the government's appetite for it as well. South Africa, we have gold mines, right? This is not exactly a group you want to get on the wrong side of with regard to the gold, because a lot of the gold that you would dig up comes from these people, and if it's not from their country specifically, it's at least geographically close to it. In places in Africa where you could mine gold. So we're either in or we're out. I love gold as an idea, as having some. I've got a gold sponsor. I've got gold myself. I don't have nearly enough. I certainly don't have the types of gold that you would need to have to make it to last you for the rest of your life off of this. But revaluing the currencies, revaluing our relationship with silver, our relationship with gold, man, I wonder what that would do if all of a sudden you woke up one day and a decision had been made that gold is not a barbarous relic of the past, but actually has real value, and that we are searching for real value. We can't seem to find it anywhere. The United States dollar doesn't offer it, but there's this gold shiny rock and it's worth something. You think you ever see a time in which we go to war over gold?
I would say I would see water before gold, but certainly, I mean, it's not the resource wars are basically upon us anyway. And I'd say that not because of, anything like oil or whatever, but rare earth minerals specifically have been written into the National Defense Authorization Act every year since 2019 as something that the U.S. needs to plan and prepare for the acquisition of in terms of, potential long-term conflict. And it's why these clowns are talking about asteroid mining, things like that. So the resource wars are here. And you combine the resource wars are here in terms of what they've been doing to the food supply chain, in terms of what they've been doing to the groundwater, in terms of what they're spraying up in the sky. That is all a part of the Kissinger plan of controlling the food, controlling the people. But if you're controlling what's in the ground that needs to be dug up in the process to make sure that all the good little slaves have all the good little slave monitors on, the sky's the limit with how you're going to acquire it. Yeah, certainly.
We've got neodymium, a necessary rare earth mineral, only coming, I think they said 90% of the world's supply of that is in China. 100% of the refining capacity for that is in China. So let's start a war with China, right? Like what a great idea. Joe Biden runs on a policy, or he talks about his green transition. We're going to go green with electric vehicles. We're going to get into solar. We're going to get into wind. We're going to get into all these things that require rare earth minerals. And simultaneously, we are going to threaten the countries that possess the rare earth minerals that we need. This is an idea so dumb that it actually sounds like something the Biden administration came up with on their own, but we know they're incapable of even doing that. Who is making this ridiculous decision pick fights with the people that we are going to need in this new green future.
Honestly, for every catastrophe that we've been involved in for the last, I don't know, half century or more, there's a corresponding Rand Corporation document that outlines about a year and a half before that outlines exactly what the problems are, how the situation's going to get gotten into. And then, that little, the meme with the step 1, step 2, and step 4. Well, that's kind of how a Rand Corporation document works. They give you step 1 and step 2, and then step 4 they declare victory. But in step 3, there's just sort of a blank spot and somebody looking at his watch. And the people whose job it is to think tank and workshop these scenarios, and especially around the acquisition of rare earth minerals, because North Korea is lousy with them too. Maybe not Nvidium, but there are several other rare earth minerals that exist mostly only in North Korea that they're not touching yet either. The neocon ghouls that lurk within the think tank sector and come up with these policy papers for Rand and for other companies, they're the people who whisper into ears, go ahead and promote Jake Sullivan. Let's get Victoria Newland in on this, and they're also the same people that will pivot and give you the neocons that came out of like the W administration, like Richard Pearl and all those guys.
Yeah, well, there was a point in the 80s or maybe it was the 90s at this time, where Donald Rumsfeld was the head of Rand with Frank Carlucci sitting on their board. Like, was the devil himself unavailable to fill out the board structure too? These are the words. And so again, this is Donald Rumsfeld, chemical weapons slinger in Iraq. Yeah. They're saying, well, how do we know Iraq has weapons of mass destruction? He's like, shit, because I sold it to them in the 80s. That's how I don't know if they have them now, but I know at one point they did. How can you be sure? Well, I got a commission on the deal.
We looked at the receipts.
Those aluminum tubes that we pretended like it. They actually did exist. I sold them to them.
There's a fantastic Bill Hicks bit about that where he talks about the farm equipment, stuff like that. We sold them this farm equipment that's in these darn Iraqis. They picked it up and they decided that instead of pointing this device at the ground and using it to burn out where these burrow weevils were threatening their crops, they just pointed it at people like a flamethrower. It was totally just a inappropriate use of product. It's not our fault.
No, mistakes were made, as Rumsfeld would say. Yeah, this is. I'll tell you, these NGOs are they don't get enough heat from the general public. Most people don't understand what's going on. They think that these groups are sitting around pontificating and sniffing their own farts about where the future may be. No, they're making the future. They're the guys that when they're not in government, they recycle into these think tanks and then get together. And then when it's their turn, when their team is back in the White House, then they take a job with that. Jake Sullivan, Victoria Newland, Susan Rice, all these creatures, Anthony Blinken, all these trilaterals, they come out. They can't be holding their trilateral membership while they're serving in office, so they carefully and very meticulously put that on ice, and then they go serve in the administration, opening up the borders and doing whatever else they're instructed to do. And then when there's the team changes every 8 years or 4 years or whatever, then they come back in and say, how did I do, boss? How was my job? So is this what we're seeing right now with the southern flank left wide open? If I didn't know any better, I'd see the Trilateral Commission spray paint graffiti all over those walls, man. That's what it looks like whenever I see it.
And it's crossed over into their destabilization campaigns going on at immigration detention facilities in Florida. The shit that went on in Philly last night.
Wow.
Did you see any of that? Where, I mean, it's just it's open season. And look, I understand there's a lot of irony in corporations that have been exploiting absolutely everyone for generations, themselves now being exploited by, in large, a lot of the people that they had been doing the exploiting to beforehand. There is some irony in that. There is. Well, the problem is that we live in an era where the vast majority of people have been subjected to a slow drip MK Ultra campaign for their entire existences. It gets ratcheted up in, the video game chat rooms where they go and recruit their next school shooter, or whatever it is. But it's a constant assault of overstimulation and trauma-based mind control. And so when you get a society that's that broken, that where it's populated by grown adult men who have been raised by nothing but angry women, or women who were trying too hard but only gave them the ability to emotionally process things, then you have men with men's strength acting emotionally about absolutely everything instead of logically about literally anything. And that makes for a very untenable society.
You might even say that Yuri Bezmenov predicted it in advance.
You see how I do this segue from what we were talking about earlier before the show?
Just teed me right up on this one, because I was in a Yuri Bezmenov K-hole where I was just watching speech after lecture after interview after whatever, and it was just, say what you want. You go, oh, that guy's KGB or ex-KGB. Yeah, of course. This is why when you get the gangster on the stand and you go, well, that guy can't be trusted. He's a criminal gangster. You go, who would know the plan better than the criminal gangster? You know what I mean? Like, you have to deal with the KGB. You want to know how the KGB runs? Bring the ex-KGB guy in and he'll explain to you. Demoralization, a 15 to 20 year plan. Destabilization, a 2 to 5 year plan. Crisis, that only takes 6 weeks, and then normalization may last indefinitely. And you get this if you can be patient with it, if you can do this interview while you're dressed up like you're going to Studio 54 with Ed Griffin after the show ends, and then you watch it in 2023, you go, okay, 4 decades, yeah, okay, add on the 5 years for destabilization, 20. We're already in it, right? And so when I see the unhinged, Antifa, when I see the people in Seattle freaking out, when I see San Francisco in a doom loop coming apart at the seams, when I see Kensington in Philly with people nodding out when they're not looting the Foot Locker, all of this feels very made to happen, almost like it was designed, almost like the ideological subversion of America was plotted and planned well in advance. But I could never think that, Steve, because to think that, I would be a conspiracy theorist, right?
Well, it's true. You would be. And it is so much easier to believe that the last, 30, 40 years, or even if you listen to Jeff Epstein's buddy, Noam Chomsky, who said that the American decline began in 1945. That's where the onset of the decline of the American empire began. Even if you just want to take it the last 20 or 30 years, we have been oversaturated with just mind, body, spirit assaults from every angle, where we're constantly given fake heroes to elevate, to watch them, get torn down. They're trying to do that with Russell Brand right now, although I don't know if that's, I don't know how well that's going to stick. But
that's on his list, by the way. On Yuri's demoralization culture, false heroes, false role models.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it goes, but there's a couple of different things that tie into this. One of them being former CIA director William Casey's famous phrase that we'll know our disinformation campaign is complete when nothing the public believes is true. And that's, you know, that sort of assault takes a level of coordination that, according to all of the paperwork and all of the shit that I've read about how they set up Radio Free Europe and all of the other CIA operations in Europe during World War II, it relatively small amount of people who actually need to be read in on the shit. Most of the people that you approach by nature are going to be gung-ho to be a part of it. The people that you need to keep out of it are kept out of it because you've got an industry with a high rate of turnover anyway. Everybody knows these guys burn out. It's not, it takes, hey, look, it's not cut out for everyone.
Yeah.
You know. And so, yeah, you can operate like that you can operate it with the kind of impunity to where an entire branch of media exists, pointing out just how bought, captured, crooked, and intentionally evil you are. And all you have to do is take one of your guys and put him 1 degree to the outside of you and let him fund a whole new network. And all of the sudden, everything's kind of, okay again, because you keep moving into that space.
Uri claimed that the demoralization process was complete already by the time he gave those interviews to Ed back in the late 70s. So I think that it's a cycle. Nobody says that this has to end, like the normalization. He says it could go on. It may last indefinitely, but it may also start the demoralization process again on something else. And then that takes another 20. And then you get the buildup, the destabilization. Then you get the big event, the big crisis. You get 9/11, boom. And then everything, then the normalization in the post 9/11 world where we've always been at war with Eurasia, but we've also always taken our shoes off when we got on an airplane, which isn't true. We've always had the Department of Homeland Security, which isn't true, and TSA, and all these things this is the normalization. This wasn't normal before. You didn't have to do all of this. So again, this feels like it could be, we're in this new version. The new version is the demoralization of people with regard to how they view this planet. Climate change, this whole green push and climate guilt, and now there's people going to see their shrinks. Have you seen your shrink to atone for your sins? I feel like there's going to be a confessional booth where instead of talking to the priest about how many how you cheated on your wife, you have to explain like, well, I didn't recycle last Thursday when I was supposed to recycle, and then they say you have to. We're going to ding your social credit a couple scores,
go
couple
do
points.
10 Hail Dylan Mulvaney's. Go, yeah, your confessor is a furry. I mean, they're going to take it to its ludicrous extreme just to go ahead and put the final nail in the coffin of whatever institution it was that was supposed to, have any sort of respectability or be any sort of guiding light for, anyone as they go through their journey. Because that really is when you hear people who just sort of started to wake up in 2020 talk about the decline of America's institutions or the destruction of it as if it's something that just happened or might be Obama's fault. You want to be like, look, just take a couple of big steps back and understand a little bit of how the Anglo-American establishment works and what this project really is for the last century or so, and who it's serving. And then once you realize that you don't have any place in that, you can come over here with us where, we're looking at and implementing a lot of different solutions to these problems.
We're not talking about ESG. ESG is DOA. We can understand the scam, but you have to get scammed. you have to lose at 3-card monte once or twice before you go, all right, how does this whole thing work, man? Like, show me. I know I'm getting, like, show me how this thing works. So, but again, if you're like, I think that this is all Obama's fault, it's like, okay. Or Trump, it's all, all this started with Trump. Well, maybe you came online around the time of Trump, and maybe it all started for you or around Trump. But for those of us that were paying attention before Trump, this had been going on for a long, long time. This is part of, like you mentioned, this is the Anglo establishment, New World Order, round table, Milner, Fabian socialist groups. They've had a plan for this country for a long, long time. If you think Trump is the guy that was brought in to destroy this country, I've got news for you. They planted bombs in the building 100 years ago. They're just, some of them haven't gone off yet, but it seems like it's going that direction. I feel like it's undeniable that it's going that direction.
It really is. And what it's also done as I think probably a predictable side effect, although with some unpredictable after effects, is really changed the conversation about healthcare, because now there are randos with a TikTok account who know a little bit about how Rockefeller medicine got established in the West. And they know a little bit. There's like people who have cut clips of some of Corbett's documentaries into little stare at the screen TikTok things. And that's proliferating now. So we are, Slim says it all the time when he's on the show, Texas Slim. When there's an era of great chaos, there's that sparks an era of great creativity and innovation, and we're all being put to the test in a number of different ways. And there's people who I think lost at 3-card monte a couple of times, realized that maybe they'd made a couple of bad investments in a couple of other areas in their lives. Admitted that, and then went, oh, what can I put my time, energy, and resources into that doesn't kill me?
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, I am that guy. I lost at 3-card monte a couple of times. I made money and lost money in the .com bubble. I made money and lost 2 houses in the housing crash, and finally I just said, I gotta understand what's going on. I'm always the last guy in. This is no way to live. There's clearly plenty of organization happening behind the scenes that I'm not privy to, and I don't know how it all works. Please explain to me how it all works. And that led me down the path of like, let's figure out what money really is. Let's talk about what this US dollar is. Like, how does this whole system of finance work? You'd think I would have known, working in real estate with the mortgage industry, and I thought it was a little dirty. I mean, I never think it's totally clean, but I had no idea of what the real mechanics were. And so I don't know. I guess for those out there that are beating themselves up about not having it all figured out, it's a big game. It's a gigantic. This is the 1,000-piece puzzle that you're trying to put together. If you don't have all the pieces together, don't feel bad about it. Nobody does. We're still trying to figure this whole thing out. But I'll tell you what, if I can get a couple pieces connected and you can get a couple pieces connected, and that guy over there that we know and trust, or that investigative journalist over there found some pieces, like, hey, let's get the edges first. Let's do out the edges, and let's see what we can find, and you contribute and I'll contribute, and maybe we'll get a chance to, I don't know, put this together in a way that makes a little bit of sense to us. Because it feels like as we're born into this world, and it's like there's no instruction manual. You go to school, you are totally misinformed about how the world works. You then go out and get a job, and the job teaches you by punishing you to show you, like, this is how this version of the world works. And you wake up one day and you go, is this all a scam? Did I waste my life trying to play this rat race? I have no time for that anymore. And I'm really grateful that we're able to come together and have, the discussions, whether we have it here or on your show or union shows, about like let's put our heads together and figure this stuff out, man, and not make everybody feel so bad for not having all the answers. Like, fuck.
If you're a grown adult and you're not being paid to like, your job isn't to go out and do one specific thing that is in like direct competition with your peers. Like, if you're not doing that and you're a grown adult, you should be collaborating with your peers. You shouldn't be competing against them, especially not when the stakes are this high. It's, it is but pastime for a lot of people to network up and team up. And here's the thing. I mean, Carlin talked about it forever, but all these guys that don't give a rusty damn about us, all of those guys, they all went to the same schools together. Their parents did. They all have the same shared goals and interests. Their individual pursuits may be different and they may clash over individual, ideology, but as a community, they're lockstep in trying to come together to achieve their shared goals and their purpose. And part of that is to make sure that we don't.
Yeah.
So if you don't like them, you should do the opposite of what they want you to do.
There's real value in meeting up in person too. I've sort of learned this. I had a great time in Austin in August for the American Liberty Awards. Just nice to meet other people that you sort of see and get to know. I met Brad from 5 Times August. I had cool dude, and so that was great. Then a couple of weeks after that, went to New York to do a presentation at 9/11 about 9/11, and got to hang out, Richard Gage again, and Don Jeffries and Tony Arterburn and Wayne McCroy and Billy Ray Valentine, and get to meet these people. And then the people, the audience that came, and we all chit chatted about things. I met a guy from your, who helps out on your show, who was there. And so I like these events, these live events where you can get people together. You and I you brought me to the Assange rally in Denver a couple years ago. You broke my your
megaphone cherry?
My megaphone cherry, yeah, for sure. Out there. That was fun to do. New event. You've got an event in Pueblo coming up. What's that? This seems like another opportunity for people to kind of get together and start to talk and start to network. I'm going to be doing an Acapulco as well. I'm going to be hosting an Acapulco this year, which is a big fucking deal. So I'm excited about that. And I love these events. What's going on in Pueblo? Because it's not too far from me. I'm going to try and come down there and see it.
Heck yeah. So November 4th, which is a Saturday, and about 5 weeks from now, the impetus of all of this is every Wednesday on AM Wake Up for the last just several weeks, T. Snyder from Conspiracy Synergy has been coming on the show. And the whole point of that, as my dog whines in the background, is to get people together in real time, in real life, talking about this stuff and sharing it with their friends and family who need to hear it. And it, the ways that we were talking about, like ways to just sort of have that ice broken for you, because sometimes that's what it takes. It can't be you necessarily doing the approaching or the talking or anything. But if you had, say, a carnival themed event, which had some elements of conspiracy to it, be they tarot cards or games or whatever, and then we had some live music and had some comics or something like that, and a couple of speakers thrown in, it would be a door, to get people to have those conversations afterwards. So we started talking about the idea, and because nobody's going to do shit till you do, we had to. So we pulled the trigger on the concept. There's a gentleman named Jeff who owns a art gallery / music space / like bar or it has a full bar, called the Blowback Gallery in Pueblo, Colorado. The woman who does some artwork for our show, Angela, who does all of our marmot related artwork, which is a running joke
Very
on the show.
important to have a marmot expert on the staff.
She is our martoonist. She is. She knows Jeff, and so he's said, okay, well, this is the space for it then. And so that's why it's in Pueblo, because he does, well, I think you've spoken to Jeff before. Yep. Yeah. Yep. And he's connected with, the good folks in the autonomy universe. And just a wonderful human being to begin with. So that's the venue space. So we're going to have live music, some comedy, and some people talking about these concepts as a way for you to bring some people who really kind of need to start to think about these things a little bit more seriously without, you having to be confrontational about it. I know that we've got people in Colorado Springs who like watch and listen to our show. I know we've got people in Denver. The bands are local. They're going to be a draw. It should be phenomenal. And I would highly recommend. We have a give, send, go because there's some people that we're trying to get out there specifically that we're trying to fly out. And that would just be to cover their costs. I think there's going to be a suggested donation at the door, but other than that, it could be somebody's life-changing experience. And we're not even selling tickets for it.
Saturday, November 4th, Pueblo, Colorado, Blowback Gallery, right? And where should they go to like find info on the Give, Send, Go and things like that?
There's a couple of different ways to do that. The AM Wake Up on Twitter. You can go to amwakeupshow.com. That's what you should do for everything anyway, is go to amwakeupshow.com.
Yeah, I do that before I check my horoscope in the morning. I go to your Twitter feed to find out how I should feel about the day.
I would do that. As I believe that astrology is metaphysical racism. However, advice from me before coffee is definitely going to be without filter.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think these places, I think it's important really to hang out and because whenever I go to an Acapulco, I have conflicting feelings when I leave. I'm always really glad I went, and it's a great time. But I feel it's a little sad to kind of leave and go back to the real world. Mm-hmm. But I use that as an opportunity to sort of recharge my batteries and get me going for a little while longer and say, oh yeah, there are good people out there. It's nice to see them all in one place. It's nice to meet them in person. So look, man.
Well, the idea with this is that it's replicatable. And the idea with this, especially for, people who watch, your show, watch our shows and stuff like that, who know other people in the podcasting community or know artists and, know comics and stuff like that. It's not that difficult to get a couple of people together as the live entertainment for the night to do it. And you can replicate this just about wherever you are. And it becomes just something that is, a pop-up cultural event in and of itself. Only this time we're not participating in manufactured culture. We're creating it organically with each other and trying to find ways to explore new ideas of how to get the fuck out of the technocratic panopticon.
Well, they tell us, like, what are you going to do about it, man? Like, are you just going to talk about it, or are you going to do something? Well, you're doing something about it. You're putting on, you guys are putting on this event, and so I guess it's up to the audience, right? If they want to put their money where their mouth is, get out there and go support it. What's the worst that happens? You go have fun, have a great night with a bunch of like-minded people. I mean, we did that in New York for the 9/11 thing. We all went out to dinner after the event. and it was great to chat with everybody. We did that in Austin as well. Went out the night before the event, got together, all had a big dinner, went to Barton Creek the following day after the award show, all went down to the river there and had a good time. It's important to be around those people, if for no other reason, it just give you a reminder that there are good people out there. It's not hopeless. It's not, that these lunatics and would have you believe that you're the only person that thinks the way you think. You must be dangerous, and then you get around all these people and you go, wait a second, you don't look like a crazy anarchist like I was expecting. I came the first time I came to Anarchapulco, I was like, well, where is the Molotov cocktail throwing hour? What time is that, at 7 or at 8? And they're like, no, we're letting baby sea turtles out into the ocean at night. And you're like, really? That's what we're doing? That's cool, but that's not what I expected. And you go, all these people are super nice. They're from all over the world. And they're really like doing it. And so then it kind of forces you to raise your game. Like, oh, so I'm building this whole off-grid community that runs on doesn't require any of these other things that you normally need. What are you doing? And you're like, I wrote a book. They're like, that's it. So it's like, it's a part of it is like kind of a kick in the ass too, to like remind you like, hey, you're still alive on this planet. You still have to, you still have to contribute. Like, how are you going to spend your time? Like, watching TV, or are you going to get out there and start doing things, right? So I don't know. It's our obligation in duty to get out there and support these events too. So if you're in Pueblo, Saturday, November 4th, like, you got to be there, period. Or if you're in Colorado Springs, I'm going to come. I'm coming from Denver.
Yeah.
But like, if you're in Denver, let's go. Like, jump in. You can come.
I know 20 or 30 people who've already said up in Denver who said, fuck yeah, we're coming down for that. So what we're going to do, there on the website, there's an actual like chat forum. And there's people that are starting to take advantage of that because they don't want to be like online like that, so they're hanging out over there. But we're going to try and put up some like rideshare stuff. There will always be a little bit more detailed information in the newsletter. I would go ahead and click the subscribe button on the newsletter. It's also, we do some stuff that we don't get to in the show, gets covered in that. There's memes of the week and it's fun. Yeah. We're expanding on the chicken lore.
Tim Pool's made an entire show out of Chicken City. Okay. I mean, listen, I expect Marmotville coming soon to AM Wake Up.
I'll tell you what, Angela has available right now. You can pre-order them, the 2024 Year of the Marmot calendars. Nice. It started the day we covered the Georgia Guidestones getting exploded. And she just randomly drew a picture of Marmot with a detonator exploding the Georgia Guidestones. And from there on, it's expanded out into a whole universe. There's a calendar available. You can pre-order it, proceeds of which, not including shipping, are going towards this Third Eye Carnival thing.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's another way you can support it.
As you have accurately pointed out, that this entire timeline is caused by a marmot falling into the reactor at CERN, right? Or being put into the I don't want to say falling. I don't want to. I mean, there might be a little bit more of a diabolical component to this that might have been forced into the gears of CERN. But either way,
here's what we know. We know for a fact that in 2016, the Marmot Weasel thing got stuck in the Large Hadron Collider and it forced a hard reset. Now, many have postulated, Charlie, that this is the event that hurtled us into where we now currently reside, the dumbest of all possible timelines, where a WWE heel, Hall of Fame villain becomes president of the United States, and then lets a demonic elf put everyone on lockdown while he does the two largest upward transfers of wealth in recorded human history, thereby ceding the presidency over an impeachment about the guy who's about to become president, right? Where it actually happened. The event, the phone call, all of that, the corruption, and all of that actually happened. They threw him out of office. They let the guy doing the corruption in the office, and now they're prosecuting the guy they impeached for being a shady real estate developer in the 80s in 2023, to where they're going to remove him legally from the ballot. That's the banana fucking republic that this marmot getting stuck in the collider has put us in. So now we do have to ask the question, Charlie Robinson, is it worth it to sacrifice a human, or at least a smarter, more benevolent creature than your standard garden variety marmot, into the collider?
We have to. Somebody has to take one for the team. Somebody has to throw themselves into the...
Yeah, it does have to be a self-sacrificing person. You can't. Yeah, I don't think you can do it with like ill intent or anything.
Yeah,
you'd have to volunteer.
Because I'd have a list if it was ill intent. I've got a bunch of people that we could throw in there. No, this is going to have to be
little test tosses.
This is going to have to be the Randy Quaid into the UFO at the very end of all of this stuff, just going out,
Dr.
suicide
Strange
mission,
loving it all the way down.
we're going to need a suicide mission for CERN. Yeah. But don't worry or anything. They didn't have Shiva the Destroyer as a logo out front, a statue that should have, if Columbo,
you can't see it, but I should probably do this.
You have a CERN yeah. For those of you that can't see, it's a CERN Fruit of the Loom baseball tee, which is rad. Can you get that somewhere? Where can we get that shirt?
So it's funny you mention it, but the website for this is called the Bohemian Grove. They do some hilarious t-shirts. They have one in the Coca-Cola lettering that says adrenochrome. Which I can't wait to get. I have one with Pepe in full tack gear, but there's a rose on the end of the barrel and it says peace mode. They have a war mode shirt. They've got some fantastic Hillary Clinton shirts. When I found out, because I've been saying that I wanted to have a compound up here and name it the Bohemian Grove, and I found out because they watched the show, they're like, hey, that's our website. Here, have a couple of t-shirts. We figured you'd like this one. Yeah. Bohemiangrove.com. They've got fascinating clothing.
The universe giveth and the universe taketh away. Sometimes the universe provides you with the Bohemian Grove guys that happen to be listening to your show. And then, this is a very strange and unusual planet and universe and dimension that we're in. And sometimes all the gears line up perfectly and you get Bohemian Grove guys watching your show, which everyone should be doing, by the way. How dare you? Why are you not watching? If you're getting up in the morning and getting yourself ready and you're watching the Today Show, you're watching Jenna and Hoda are having wine at 10 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, oh my God, this is my favorite show. Stop what you're doing. Get over to Rockfin. It's free, right? You don't have to pay to be on Rockfin. You can pay. There's a premium subscription. I've got my show over there too, if you want. But if you just sign up, you can watch everything for free. And your show is on, and it is fantastic. And I really mean that. And I'm not just saying that because I've been on it and I've been in studio. Did you hear I had Pasta on the radio show on?
Oh, right on
Saturday. We talked about Maui. Good to have him on. I don't know. It's just such a crazy time out there, and sometimes you feel a little bit like you're on your own. Like I'm the only person seeing this, and it's nice to get over there and watch your show. Then you realize, no. Everyone else is seeing this too. I'm not alone. What do you guys have planned for I don't know what's going on. What's the future for AM Wake Up?
Well, we have a whole bunch of cool people that are lined up to come on here shortly. But basically, the way that the show has been working is the first half of the week we're focusing more on narrative deconstruction and trying to outline and form a more complete picture of the world in which we live. And then the second half of the week, we're hitting the solutions as hard as humanly possible. So the tease comes on. This morning we had Meredith Miller on, who's a holistic life coach who's post-pandemic has been getting like just kicked around her professional community for going, hey, you know how we all talk about abusive relationships with narcissists? We're in one with our government. And I think that people need to know about that. So she's taken like the basic tools of that and has applied it to the relationship the people are in with their government. Yeah. And so we went through all of that this morning because really you can't do a damn thing for your kids, your neighbors, your community, anybody if you're a mess. So you kind of got to sort yourself out a little bit. Yeah. And then you can start to apply some good help. We talk a lot about food. At the end of the week, Texas Slim comes on, the beef initiative. It's not just, we don't just sit around and talk cow all day. We go into a lot of other things. We had Jim Gale from Food Forest Abundance on the other week, and the merging of universes with Texas Slim and Jim Gale. I think it's going to like open a portal to, you know, abundance in food everywhere. So, I mean, really it's, we're trying to do that, like, you know, with dick jokes and stuff. So
that's how you do it. That's how the war is won, is with dick jokes. Because you gotta, if it's too heavy duty, it's like, oh, I get enough of this elsewhere. I want lighthearted. Can I get a message? Can you teach me something or tell me about a story?
You, man, I'm sorry to cut you off, but Chris from the Rained Out Rantcast has been just fucking awesome. He got hurt. Was like, hey, I'm hurt. You mind if I hop in? And I was like, fuck yeah, dude, hop in. And he's got the way that his brain spirals off into the ether and the shit that comes out of his mouth as a result is just so freaking funny and relates more often than not to exactly what we're talking about. It's been a ton of fun. It really has.
It almost feels
that guy ever goes back to work, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's, you know, we're not laughing at the people that are suffering. There's a lot of suffering going on out there. We're laughing at the absurdity of it all. We're laughing that we've allowed it to be normalized. We've allowed that we're laughing that you don't. We're laughing because you're not laughing. How are you not laughing at this? I mean, Donald Trump. Say what you want. Funniest president of all time. I mean, the guy came in and he just like immediately, like if you're so triggered that you can't find the humor in Donald Trump. And I found there's a lot of shitty stuff he's done. But when he comes in, he's like, Ted Cruz, your wife is fat. You're like, holy shit. Like, what? You're not allowed to say this. You got a fat wife, Ted. Mm-hmm. She's a big cow. And you're like, oh, can we do that now? And they're like, I guess we can. Like, all right, let's go. Let's watch it. Because listen, if this ship is going down, I want a show. You know, I want dinner and a show. So give me the show, baby. And I'm all right with it. I don't look, I mean, part of this stuff I take real seriously, and I think it's very important. And the other part of it is like, you got to be able to laugh at the craziness of this world that we're living in. And the marmot is a symbol of the insanity, a perfect animal for this, just minding its own business and just without a care in the world. And somebody picked it up and chucked it into this Large Hadron Collider, screwed up the entire universe, and now we have to go put the pieces back together thinking that we're going to figure this out, man.
Yeah. They weren't telling us 7 years ago, Charlie. They weren't telling us that if we gave Klaus Schwab all of our money and ate the bugs, it would change the weather. I just want to point that out. That's what would make the weather gooder. as if you gave sociopaths money and ate bugs. So we really we got to analyze this a little bit from the perspective. And you can't think, we were talking about this on the show this morning. Carlin has that moment on Tavis Smalley's show from that it circulates every now and then, where he's like, I don't belong in that. That's crazy. I'm over here observing that and commenting on it. And when you're doing that from an observational standpoint, it's nonstop hilarity because these clowns are ridiculous.
You couldn't write half of the stuff that has happened that in the last couple of years. You would get thrown. They would throw you out of the office of Paramount Pictures. You're like, all right, I have an idea for, we're going to call it an insurrection. But you're like, get the fuck out of here with it. You're like, no, hear me out. There's more. And then, oh God, and then
the camera opens on a plate of cocaine. You see two lines and it slowly backs away to reveal Malia Obama's credit card. And all of a sudden, the president's kid leans in.
Yes, I love it. Yes, I love it. I love where this is going. Yeah, we're gonna be a star, baby. Just change page 62. I got to tell you a funny story. Since speaking of that, speaking of Hollywood and weirdos, I have one of my buddy is friends with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, right? And knew them when they were writing Good Will Hunting, right? And here's the story. This is from them to my friend who told me they're writing this script and they're working on it real hard, right? And they're sending it over to Miramax, and Harvey Weinstein's reading it. He'd have a meeting with him, and he'd say, "Yeah, I like it, but tighten it up, and tighten this up, and whatever, and we'll see." And so they go home and they tighten it up and do whatever it is, and they come back in. And he's like, maybe tighten this up, tighten that up, and we'll see, right? And so they're like, okay, he's still in. He still might be in, right? So they go and they tighten it all up, and they come back and drop. Same meeting, same response. Yeah, I like it, but and they're like, he's not even fucking reading this thing. He's not reading it. We know he's not reading it. And so they go, oh, we'll tighten it up. So they go in and they rewrite the scene. The real emotional scene with Matt Damon and Robin Williams where they're hugging it out and he's like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And they're having a big breakdown, and they rewrite the scene so that as that's happening, Matt Damon gets down on his knees, unbuttons Robin Williams' pants and starts blowing him. They write that in the scene, right? Totally doesn't fit. Submit it to Miramax. Harvey says, come on in. Let's have another meeting. Let's talk about this great script of yours that you guys are tightening up. And they go, well, what do you think? He goes, well, I was reading the script and everything. It's good. It's pretty good. I'll tell you what. Take out the blowjob scene and we got a deal. And they're like, yes, sir. And they left, and that was Good Will Hunting. So sometimes you got to have some fun with the machine. That's Steve Poikonen, everybody. Steve, where's the best place for people to find you, to support your work, and to get involved with everything that you're doing?
amwakeupshow.com. We're live on Rockfin, Rumble, and I think Twitter Monday through Thursday right now. We're going to have to pick Friday. We are picking Fridays back up. There's just too much going on.
There's too much.
We can't let it lie like that. But yeah, amwakeupshow.com for absolutely everything, including like the coolest freaking merch store on the planet. You guys, they're really good, and they're not expensive. Just $16 gets you a really cool t-shirt.
Nice. Go check it out. Support the alternative media. How dare you? You spend your money on buying useless things all the time. Spend it on some good merch at Steve's store, or my store too. I've got merch too. If you want to get you want to get my new "It's All Happening" line of sweatshirts and t-shirts, wear that out. That's Steve Poikonen.
I'm sorry, quickly, let me announce we have a contest going on the show right now. Also, every Tuesday, Ryan Christian from Last American Vagabond is on the show. It's T-Lab Tuesday. He lets it all out there. There's a Ryan Christian F-bomb tracker contest now, to where at the end of the month, if you submit the correct number of Ryan Christian F-bombs and you are the first 3 people to do it, you get free stuff.
Oh my God. How am I not
custom made t-shirts? We just started it. Just came into existence this week. It's a brand new thing. It's why I'm stoked and almost forgot to promote it.
Listen, this is breaking news, everybody. You got to get on this. I know T-Lab Tuesdays, and we know Ryan, and Ryan is the best, and yet another reason to get over there and watch AM Wake 'Em. It's the funniest. It's AM Bake Up. No,
it's been suggested, and it's an unofficial pet name for a lot of people that watch the show. Yeah.
Well, listen, there's no judgment on this side of the table. I think what you guys are doing over there is fantastic. That's Steve Poikonen. Everybody go support his work. Go see AM Wake Up, AM Bake Up. Go count the number of F-bombs Ryan drops. But I don't know. There's always something going on over there. Hey, and if you like this episode, you can take the additional step right now of sharing it with your friends and family. You can follow me on Twitter at Macroaggressions or the website, theoctopusofglobalcontrol.com. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.